and saying, what makes you say that? It's all of a sudden being in a position where you stop winging conversations in your life. How many people feel like they wing conversations in their life? Where you kind of just fly by the seat of your pants? Well, I'll tell you, the first cornerstone of conversational excellence is the worst time to think about the thing you're going to say is in the moment you're saying it. Right? Let's say it again. The worst time to think about the thing you're going to say is in the moment you're saying it, right? You know these things are going to happen. We're going to go into the critical conversation, but I'll tell you a little bit more about me. I used to be an improv comedian. I was paid to not do this. People lined up to watch me perform comedy and not think about the thing I was going to say before I say it, so much so that I had to say it in a way that was funny, that they would come back and see me again and tell their friends to come see me. So I unwired my brain for this from a very early age. But the problem is that I began winging conversations in my personal life and my professional life. And that's okay to a point until the stakes get higher. Like the first time I met my wife, I did not think about the thing I was going to say before I said it. I talked about my grandma for 45 minutes, slightly drunk, on St. Patrick's Day at Funky Blue Shack. And raise a hand, how many people thought I got her number? That's right. You're correct. Ghosting wasn't a phrase then, but she maybe is the pioneer of it. But I didn't think about asking about her life. I didn't think about any of that type of stuff, but I knew in that moment that she was the person I wanted to marry the second I saw her. And so I was persistent. I am a persistent person. I was able to, make up for that. But think about if I hadn't been able to find her. The impact that she's had on my life, the opportunity to have two beautiful children together. Just because I didn't think about the thing I was going to say before I said it. Thankfully, she loves old people. So she still remembered me talking about my grandma, right? But I also thought about the first time that my daughter told me that she got picked on at school. I got picked on at school. And I thought to myself, the first time my child tells me they got picked on at school, I'm going to be ready to talk to them about it. What do you think I did? I winged it. It was the worst feeling I've ever had. I mean, it still makes me emotional. In that moment where my daughter opened up to me to say, there's somebody at school that's being mean to me and she won't stop being mean to me, I told her it'd be okay, don't worry about it, and don't listen to her. The exact opposite of what you tell a kid when they're bullied at school. Because I knew, because I was bullied. So in that moment, realizing that I had messed that up, I told myself that in 3 months, 6 months, whenever this happens again, I'm going to be ready. I thought so intentionally about that next conversation that when it did happen, I actually saw it happen. It was bad. And I yelled at the kid. I shouldn't have done that, but can't be perfect. So when that moment did happen, we were finally quiet with one another, and I sat down next to her and I said, listen to me. Do you want me to sit here next to you? Or do you want me to cry with you? Or do you want me to talk to you? What do you want? She said, just sit here and let me cry. And we just sat in the car for 15 minutes and she cried. And then I told her about my experience getting picked on. I told her about how I overcame it, and how I thought about it, and how I was always wittier than my bullies, and how I could always come up with a better joke than what they came up with. And I always turned it back on them without being mean, and I always asked them how they were doing. We haven't had a conversation about it since. But she tells me everything that happens in her life because she knows it's a comfortable space, right? So think about that. At what point are you winging conversations to the point where you are ruining opportunities, not developing relationships, right? It's so important just to give a little intentionality to every single conversation, every single interaction that you have. It's not hard. The first thing you want to do is you want to identify these critical conversations. Critical conversations, we're going to go through the definition, we're going to break it down. There's situational moments that appear on repeat when the competence you bring to these moments has a compounding effect on your overall success. It's meaty. Let's break it down. Situational moments that appear on repeat, that the competence you bring to these moments has a compounding effect on your overall success. One more time. You know when they happen, how often they happen, how prepared you are when you show up has a direct and lasting impact on your success. It's not just that one moment. It's all of the moments. You see them all the time. You know you're going to talk to your wife. You know you're going to talk to your husband. You know you're going to talk to your client, your kids, whatever it is.